and welcome into Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement. It's time to do a financial spring cleaning. What are the things in your financial life that need attention, that could be tidied, that could be straightened up to give you further and more financial progress? We'll talk about it today with Tim Stearns, CFP, your certified financial planning professional resource, Chicagoland. If you've got questions or concerns, Tim Stearns is always available for you. But today we're going to be talking about a number of topics where people are overlooking some of the dust and cobwebs and maybe could use a little tidying of their financial house. Tim, a lot of people probably have some unaddressed issues or some things that have sort of taken a back burner that we've forgotten to attend to. That's what the financial spring cleaning is all about.
Right. I mean, you want to get your house in order. Most of you out there want to retire at some point. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about today is kind of getting that spring cleaning done. And some of the subjects that we'll be covering are debt, budgeting and cash flow, taxes, consolidating accounts, rebalancing, reviewing your performance in your different portfolios, planning ahead so that you have a roadmap to get there. And lastly, of course, estate planning.
Tim, number one on that list, debt that you mentioned. Do you actually encounter a lot of people that have significant debts?
Well, we've been really lucky. This show, we draw a nice swath of people, if you will, in Chicagoland that they don't have a lot of debt. But what they don't realize is, a lot of them have built a tax time bomb, we call it, with the 401ks and that IRAs that they really have not paid the government yet. So in fact, they do have some debt, and that debt is to the government, because they've never paid taxes on these 401ks and IRAs over their working lives. So that is one thing that I think kind of sneaks up on people in retirement, realizing what that mountain is. And the one thing we always talk about, Peter, is if I cross the street and saw you, and I said, "Hey, Peter, what do you have in your portfolio, in your IRA, your 401k?" You'd probably be within 50 grand about where you are. But if I said to you, "Peter, over your retirement lifetime, how much is your tax bill? How much is it?" And you'd have no idea. You'd look me stone in the face and go, I don't really know that. So that's why one of the reasons that we've made that website available so that people on this show can log on and go to www.mvpcfp.com, and they can log in and put their own information there and get a report. That report could cost about $500. We're paying it forward to people so that they can see, yes, you do have some debt, and the debt's to the government. Let's figure out how much that is.
And Tim, just a point of clarification, no actual login or account establishment is necessary.
No, sir.
You do put in your assumed rate of growth and your assumed tax rate, your approximate retirement balance, and then let it crunch the numbers. It'll spit the report out right there for you, ladies and gentlemen. It is eye-opening. I mean, mind-boggling, the amount of taxes that the average person is going to pay over the course of their retirement, and equally as mind-boggling, what you could actually bring that bill down to, what you could manage it for, that a lot of people are overlooking this critical opportunity. So if you'd like to see how you can pay the least amount possible in taxes into and throughout and over your retirement, head on over to that website, mvpcfp.com, mvpcfp.com, like most valuable player, MVP, CFP, like certified financial planning professional is Tim Stearns, mvpcfp.com. Tim Stearns, CFP, does make that website available for you. No cost. You just a tool, a calculator to crunch your retirement tax bill. You definitely need to take a look at that. And of course, if you'd like to act on that, you should always consult your qualified, experienced professional. And Tim Stearns, CFP, does make his time available to you if you would like to look at why there is such a big difference and how you can realize that difference, meaning that you reduce and control and manage that retirement tax bill. Give a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, 800-640 is the number to reach TJ Stearns and Tim Stearns, CFP. If you would like to get that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, if you'd like to handle any of the spring cleaning items that we will be talking about today, if you would like to understand what it takes to manage that tax bill after after you've gone to the calculator, seen the numbers, I'm sure you will want to get more information there on, well, how can I bring my bill down that significantly? Tim Stern, CFP, can walk you through it. Again, give a call, 800-640-2256. But it does start at that website, mvpcfp.com. Now, Tim, circling back, like, kudos to this audience, right, for not having debt. We generally do take on some debt to buy a house, right? Most of us didn't have the money, at least starting in our financial progress, to plop down and buy a house. So fantastic that a lot of them have not racked up a large amount of consumer debt. We are the responsible ones, right? However, that tax deferred balance resting inside of the 401k, the IRA, maybe we don't think about it that way, but it is in fact a debt to the IRS, and then the IRS themselves, as well as the full government, also is in debt. They have their own debt, and we should probably concern ourselves with both, right? How much do we owe out of our IRA? And then could the government change how much we owe out of our IRA because of their debt?
Right. If you're speaking about them moving the cheese within the maze that are taxes, I would agree with that. So let's move on to our next topic, which is taxes. No one knows what their tax bill is for over 30 years that you're going to be in retirement, but you sure can do this, exercise with us to see kind of whereabouts you will be. But that being said, there's some great opportunities right now with Roth conversions for this year and next year that we're talking to our clients about. So that does help mitigate some of those taxes. You just got done with your taxes, filing them. And what do? Just like everyone, even a CPA does it. They shoulda, coulda, would've, right? And they Monday morning quarterback, things that you did the year previously. So if we know what's coming up on the horizon, which is going to be a 30-year retirement, shouldn't we look at what our tax bills will be and how to mitigate some of those?
Yeah, again, that website's so valuable, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the Protect and Grow plan that goes beyond just the numbers and the calculation. But mvpcfp.com is a great place to get a start in understanding what that tax bill is going to look like into and through retirement. And of course, as we all know, if you leave the dollars in tax deferred accounts, well, you are deferring that tax bill, but you are also defaulting to potential changes in the tax bills and rates and brackets. And Congress can and does and will likely change those rates and brackets. And at least nobody I'm talking to, Tim, thinks that those taxes are going to be going down.
No.
Whenever you ask anybody, don't they point all the way up in the air about as high as they can go? What are taxes going to be doing in the future?
Yeah, after they vomit, they usually do that. Yes, that is correct. That's fair.
I think we the people are at a consensus here that taxes are likely going to go up in the future. So why not take advantage of the opportunity to manage that tax bill today? And if you'd like to take a look at that, that's what the Protect and Grow Retirement Planning Review, the strategy session, the written retirement income plan is all about. The Tim Stearns will put together for you, with you, no cost, no obligation. Just pick up the phone, give a call for that part of the service. And the number is on that website, mvpcfp.com. But if you would like to just call directly, it is 800-640-2256 from the radio show, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. And Tim, the next item on your spring cleaning list here, taxes certainly part of this, but not encompassing the totality of it, but budgeting and cash flow. We've got to understand where the income's coming in and where the expenses and the expenditures are going out, right?
Yes, so that is something the government might want to think about doing, is budgeting.
That's laughable, Tim.
Exactly. Budgeting, and then obviously cash flow that doesn't come from our new higher taxes. But back to us. If you're out there and you have an idea of what you want to do, just an image in your brain, I mean, that's just a hope, right? So you need to be able to actually write these things down and do a plan. So that includes budgeting and cash flow. I just got off the phone with a client on Friday, and he was talking to me about, in the next 3 or 4 years, he wants to retire. I said, what are your bills? And he said, I've never really sat down and done that. And I said, well, let's start there, so we can figure out exactly what your budget looks like, what are your dreams, aspirations, and then let's figure out how we're going to get the cash flow. Where are your guaranteed sources? How much are your bills? And then what is our shortfall? And that's where it comes from right there.
Just did a quick Google search. Congress has a long term spending plan. They struggle to pass spending bills. The last time Congress passed a budget on time, Tim, 27 years ago.
Wow.
27 years that Congress has not put a spending plan in place on time. We cannot do that, right? We
No.
need to have our spending plan. And Tim, again, with this audience that we are talking with and talking to on the radio, they are some of the, whatever you want to call it, lucky, hardworking, blessed. They are, in general, ones that have been more comfortable in their income during their working career, but the tables turn with that same description in retirement. We walk away from the paycheck that gave us that comfort. Generally, that same description of individual has a lifestyle that costs a little bit more. They are used to and accustomed to
Yep.
a little bit more expensive spending ability, and the shift in income is that much more significant without the paycheck. So therefore, doesn't that spending plan help them have confidence in day one, year one, the first decade of retirement, that we are not spending to the point where we are risking and jeopardizing our financial future in the third decade of retirement?
How about just having a happy retirement, knowing that you're going to be okay? That's part of the battle is that we go from being savers to spenders in retirement because we have to. And that is a lot of an emotional switch there. So yes, when you're doing a budgeting and cash flow, and then actually having, a roadmap to get there. I mean, you would never drive out to California without a roadmap, right? And then let's say you encompass some snow, where are you going to go from there? Are you going to drive down to New Mexico? What are you going to do? You got to pivot, right? These are things that we see in life that happen. And I think a lot of people are just so scared that they're almost hamstrung to do anything. And then they retire with the hopes that everything's going to be okay. We've talked about this. Hope is different than knowing you're going to be okay. So why not get a roadmap that we can help you with?
Yeah, I always heard that a goal that's not in writing, Tim, is just a hope.
Yeah.
A plan is not a plan until you actually put those goals in writing, and statistics prove this out, that once you put goals in writing, you are statistically much likelier to actually achieve them than if you have not put them in writing. So that's what that protect and grow plan that you help clients put together is really all about, right? Let's talk about the goals, let's talk them through, and then you help put them in writing, and not only the goals, but here is what we do, the simple steps to work toward achieving each one of these goals.
Well, and what part of that is talking to them about where are your accounts? Are they at your old 401k and that type of thing? And you're paying fees on all these different things. So why wouldn't you look at consolidating some of those? The average 401k in the United States, the costs are about 2.12%. And I literally just had a gentleman in the office the other day who was saying to me, why is the price that I buy in on my 401k different than what I see online? Just looking it up on Yahoo Finance. That's because there's fees in there. When you have a dedicated staff to your phone calls coming in at Fidelity or Schwab or wherever your 401k is, trust me when I tell you, they're not working for free. They're not volunteering to take your call. They are there because they get, fees through the accounts that are held there. So why not consolidate some of those 401ks that are all over the place and cut down on your fees and know exactly what your money's doing and how much it's costing to do that?
Tim, I know personally, somebody recounted a story that their old 401k, they had sort of left it behind. They, I guess, didn't know what to do with it or just didn't bother doing it. They left it behind. It ended up getting transferred to another company after a period of time. They still didn't go and get it. Come to find out years later that other company hadn't even invested the money. It had just kind of sat there in cash. And then the fee, there was a monthly fee that basically drained the account down over time. And they had substantially less than they had left behind at their former company. This is just one of the reasons for consolidation, right? Not to mention, I've also seen firsthand and talked to others where somebody wasn't as consolidated as they should have been, and then left behind a mess for spouse and children because they didn't know where anything was at once the person passed away.
So consolidation would be the first step. And then once you have consolidated, I'd look at rebalancing, right? Because if, for example, in your example, these people left the money 10 years ago, God knows where it's been and where it hasn't been that it should have been. So those are other things that we look at for people is make sure that we're consolidating, cutting down on fees, and then rebalancing. With the 13-year bull market, we've seen a lot of people way too heavily invested into stocks. And, that was bad in 2022, 2023, not so bad. But, if you're in your 60s, you can't be investing like you're in your 40s. Let's cut that down to the realities of it, right? So again, consolidating and rebalancing are some of the things that we talk about all the time in here.
But Tim, like, wouldn't rebalancing have helped people on both of those years examples that you gave? Because if they had been rebalancing while we were making gains in 2020, 2021, 2022, they would not have, take that back, not 2022. 2022 was the bad year, but had they been rebalancing up to that point, they may not have had as much risk on the table. And then when we had the bad year, rebalancing actually would have helped them purchase in at lower prices so that when we recovered in 2023, they would have more money participating in that recovery. Like rebalancing, Tim, is so often forgot about or overlooked, but it is actually one of the fundamental pieces of investment success that is so important.
Well, and comes with that is reviewing your performance, right? You want to see exactly what you did and what you didn't do. And that's one of the things that we also tell people is make sure you're consolidating, make sure you're rebalancing, and then let's look at what your performance has been in the past. Make sure you don't leave these 401ks behind. We had one gentleman who had moved twice and tracking down his 401k, was really difficult. They would say stuff like, well, we got mail paperwork to your old address to move the money. And I don't live there and I don't even know the people that do. So these are things we've helped people track down their 401ks and figure out how to get the money to where it rightfully belongs. Then when we look at it, we're making sure that we look at the performance and rebalancing it.
Once again, we are talking with certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns, CFP, here on Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, a couple very valuable resources available to you just for tuning into the program. Number one, the Retirement Tax Bill Calculator. We are talking about keeping as much of our money as possible, making the best use of it, certainly controlling and managing taxes, a big part of that. And it is eye-opening when you take a look at what your potential and likely retirement tax bill could be if you defer and default to the IRS's plan for you. You can go online and see it side by side. What is that bill likely to be versus what could I potentially control and manage this bill for? And the difference is really astounding. So go to mvpcfp.com to crunch your numbers and do the retirement tax bill calculator. That is mvpcfp.com, mvpcfp.com. And of course, if you would like the Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, which takes income, investments, Social Security, taxes, healthcare, legacy, all of those things into account, helps you minimize the taxes, minimize the risk, or at least be aware of it, maximize the Social Security, the income, the benefit from your dollars working for you. Pick up the phone, give Tim Stearns a call, and set up a time for a conversation. No cost, no obligation for that retirement planning review, the Protect and Grow written retirement planning strategy session. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. And Tim, cannot let a show go by. I'd be remiss if I forgot to mention that you are an author as well, and your book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, on most programs here since its publication and release. You have made a few copies of that book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, available as well.
I'd love to get the book into the first 10 callers. They give us a call with over $500,000 in investable assets. We will get the book to them as quickly as we can. The book covers the whole gamut. It covers debt, budgeting and cash flow, taxes, consolidating your different 401ks, rebalancing, reviewing performances, and of course, having a plan and having a roadmap to get through 30 plus years of retirement.
Well, if you would like a copy of Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, pick up the phone, give a call, be one of those first 10 callers, ladies and gentlemen. 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. I do think that there is a place where you may be able to request a copy, or at least put your name in at tjstearns.com as well.
Right.
Or maybe it's purchase it. I don't know. I got the website right behind me, but I'm looking at you right now, Tim. So, but tjstearns.com is the website. A lot of great resources there, ladies and gentlemen. tjstearns.com. Tim, going back to that consolidation, I mean, how many different bank accounts do we have? How many brokerage accounts, investment accounts, mutual funds, life insurance policies? Do we need all of those things? Old 401ks you talked about, but a lot of people are good at squirreling away money in different places, but have not really brought all the pieces together. They're just little wheels spinning independently. They're not gears driving the financial progress forward. I call it the Waffle House hash brown plan, scattered and covered. Oh, I got that covered somewhere. Oh, I got that covered somewhere,
Right.
you know, but things are scattered. They don't know where things are. And that really can be a nightmare. You may miss some critical opportunities. And you've talked about that, but the consolidating, like we're talking about financial spring cleaning, that the rebalancing, the reviewing performance, all of those so important to make the most out of each and every dollar and have it work for us.
Well, we had a person come in from the radio that the dad had passed away, the mom had dementia, and she came in with 11 boxes of information from the dad. They were from the Southeast, and we had to uncover all that. So to say that we are good at mining things and figuring out what is, we're very good at that. And that helped that person get to the roadmap to get the money selectively put where it needs to be to get through her 30+ year retirement.
And just a point of note, Tim, is that consolidation is not the opposite of diversification. And in fact, more often, consolidation actually improves diversification, correct?
That's correct. And we make sure that we are not too over heavily balanced in something. One thing we're seeing a lot is people coming in here with majorly correlated assets. You know, they're either in a stock or a bond, or stocks and bonds and mutual funds. And so when the market got hit in 2022, they took it pretty good. About 22% is the average we've seen. And as you know, that's the worst year ever in the history of the 60/40 modern portfolio. So we are trying to make sure that people understand where is your money and what is it doing, and you know how much risk are you actually taking.
Well, Tim, the item that I think really resonates as kind of, to me, the emphasis and maybe the most important takeaway is that this is about planning ahead, envisioning, discussing, identifying our goals for the future, and then putting that plan to achieve those in writing. So many of us maybe have thought about things, thought about what we want to do, thought about what our vision of the future
Yeah.
might look like, but I think far too few of us have actually put a plan together to make those things, to make those visions of an ideal retirement happen. That's what you do for your clients and maybe not yet clients all the time there at TJ Stearns Inc. It is a complimentary service to help people put that plan in writing. The Protect and Grow plan is what you have named your proprietary process, and the written plan that people receive. And there's just one way to get it there, by calling the team at TJ Stearns Inc., ladies and gentlemen, and starting that conversation. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. But Tim, that plan really is the takeaway and the most valuable thing that people can have and refer back to in order to make sure that they are reaching milestones and benchmarks and making that forward progress.
Like you said, if it's in writing, the chances are that you'll be successful. And that's what we make sure that everyone is getting their ducks in a row, as they say. And that can't be stressed more. To have a good retirement, you only have one shot at an ideal retirement. And, you know, if you're not careful, you might screw up, you know, what could be a great time and make it to the point where you're 80 years old going, man, I guessed that one wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And we're happy to help people uncover what's going on and get a you know, congruent financial plan for them that's, you know, a roadmap to retirement.
Coming full circle, Tim, I want to do first things last and last things first. And you mentioned right at the beginning of the program that the listeners, the folks that you meet with and talk to through this radio program, tend to not have a tremendous amount of debt. Kudos to you, ladies and gentlemen. But Tim, inside of our tax deferred accounts, those IRAs, those 401ks, whether or not we think about it in these terms, there is a yet unpaid debt to the IRS. And you've put together a website, a resource, a calculator where people can really put a tangible number on that debt and what we might pay to the IRS over our retirement. Super valuable tool. And would you talk just a little bit more about how you are helping people not only understand that, but control and minimize that debt?
Well, again, if they go to www.mvpcfp.com and put their information in there, they're not signing up for anything, but we will get them a nice plan that tells them exactly what their tax bill looks like. And that's important to know that before you go into retirement, because that money is not all yours. Just like you have a plan for it, so does the IRS. So let's be smart about it and figure out what we're going to need to get through a good, clear retirement, in this day of age, to last 30 years. And that's one of the most important things we try to do for people.
Well, hopefully most people have filed the taxes. Might be still a few extensions out there. I know that that's pretty common, but we need to think about taxes in a different perspective, much more proactively looking ahead to control them. Looking back at filing, that's last year. It's already happened. Very limited options on what you could do. You're probably aware of that, ladies and gentlemen, but and hopefully you are aware. Maybe you're not. Maybe you just don't know how much it really does make a difference in looking at these strategies of being proactive about your taxes moving forward. But you need to take a look at that at the online calculator, mvpcfp.com, mvpcfp.com, and give Tim Stearns and TJ Stearns Inc. a call at 800-640-2256 if you would like to look at the strategies to help control and reduce that tax bill, as well as get the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Income Plan in your hands. Get the plan in your hands to help improve this year and every year moving forward. Give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. As always, Tim, a fast-moving program here on Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement, and we always appreciate your time and insight.
Thanks, Peter.
Tune into Chicagoland Certified Financial Planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.